left-wing party, the BSW, which also opposes the war with Russia, out of the German parliament. So we are on a very, very bad trend in Europe. And to your original point about right-wing authoritarians in Europe, absolutely. If you're looking for authoritarians, you should look for them in the elite, in the EU centre in Brussels, which of course is heavily involved in all of these policies, in its various supporters, right across the territory of the EU, and they're becoming increasingly aggressive and increasingly repressive as they strive not just to retain control, but to expand the control they already have.
I never thought I would live through this. I never thought I would live to see, the people who consider themselves liberals turn into outright fascists, because that's what's happening. And they do it under, of course, there is an old saying, when fascism comes to America, it will look like anti-fascism. And that's exactly what they do. They do it under the guise of fighting Nazis and fighting fascism. Just like they use in Germany, they use the laws against speech, which are supposed to be intended against the Nazis. The Nazis are actually using them now against the pro-Palestinian protester. It's amazing. It's really an amazing flip-flop. I mean, up is down, black is white, and in is out. And did you, like, the people in America, they voted for Trump, I think, a lot of them, because they woke up to some of this. I think that, and they thought voting for Trump would do something about that. Do you think, I always thought Europeans were better than us. I always thought, go ahead.
I don't know whether I thought Europeans were better, but I will say this. If you'd asked me whether we would be in this position 10 years ago, I too would have said impossible. I mean, the other thing that's happened is the growing collapse of the legal system, which is essentially allowing these kind of things. I mean, we had a whole series of court cases in Britain in the summer, for example. There were some riots or protests in the summer, and we had trials in some cases, which I understand lasted all of 15 minutes. People being convicted after 15-minute trials. I mean, production line justice, in other words. So I once would have thought this was inconceivable, but it has come. And maybe there will be a pushback eventually, as there has been in the United States. But in a sense, opposition politics in Europe is much more fragmented than it is in the United States, because we are still separate nations. And of course, there is a case for saying that traditions of democracy in Europe anyway don't have perhaps quite the resonance and the depth that they do in the United States, even if they're not always observed there.
Yeah. I'm actually a little afraid to travel now, because I know I'm supposed to go to Ireland in June and to England and Scotland, and you hear people. I'm outspoken when it comes to Israel, Gaza, and all that stuff, and that seems to be a line they won't let you cross. And especially, and also about the open borders immigration. What is the response? Before I let you go, what is the response? Because just a few years ago, Keir Starmer was wagging his finger and admonishing anybody who questioned the immigration policy in the UK. And just like 5 minutes ago, he was out there saying that the people of the UK deserve an answer of why they did an open borders experiment. How did that happen, and how are the people reacting to Keir Starmer's 180?
Well, his popularity in Britain has completely collapsed, and because people are very aware of the fact that he said one thing to become prime minister, is doing something completely different now that he is prime minister. He is a deeply unpopular prime minister, but he's also a prime minister who is reinforcing all these very authoritarian trends that you spoke about. Now, if I can just say, Ireland is still by far the country that respects free speech best of the places that you mentioned. We still have strong residual protections in England. So I think here in England, you could probably say an awful lot, and there's very strong feelings about the Palestinian issue amongst people in Britain, and there'd be a lot of people who would want to listen. And as I said, there's still support within the political system. The place which is most dangerous by far, if you want to raise these issues now, is Germany.
Yeah.
Germany.
And that is incredibly paradoxical.
Germany,
A friend of mine who is German said to me that it's become very strange that in Germany, after all the things that were said after the Second World War, we've ended up supporting Nazis in Ukraine and genocide in Gaza.
That is so amazing. I was in Berlin last spring. We did some shows there, and I was a little nervous, but we got to say, I got to tell those Nazis what I thought, and nobody arrested me. So maybe I'm inflating my importance. Maybe I'm not. Maybe nobody cares what I say. We'll see. Anyway, well, I really appreciate both of you coming on the show, Alex and Alexander. Everybody should check out the Duran. It's a great show. I always learn a ton every time I watch it. And you have the same insignia on your. Is that for your show insignia?
Yeah, that's our merch. Yeah, it's our show logo and it's our merch. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Smooth.
I got to get one of those.
That's nice.
We'll send them over. Just let us know the address and we'll send you guys. Yeah.
Oh sure, okay, that's fantastic. All right, I really appreciate you coming on. Everybody, check out the Duran, and hope to see you when we're over across the pond.
Thank you very much, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy, for having us.
Okay,
thank you so much.
See you soon, fellas.
Over to Steph.
You know what?
Thanks,
We're going to
Steph.
go to a break
Take care.
because we're going to bring in our next guest.
Oh, we got another
All right,
guest.
we'll be right back.